Sensei, the place to be. Children, Mr. A&D, back to give you guys a midweek wrestling review. This is going to be more so differently because I know I talk about NXT and I talk about AEW, but there's really one overarching thing here, and that is that nice tribute to Jay Briscoe at the end of Dynamite. You know, Tony Khan, he had to do a lot because, especially with Warren Discovery not wanting Jay Briscoe on any of their programs, and to get Mark Briscoe on there to have a match, which I just learned of one of Jay's most, great rivals of Jay Lethal at the end Dynamite. I thought that was fabulous, and it was touching, it was moving, and I know it. I sound very ignorant with all this stuff because I don't, like I said, I never watched Ring of Honor. I'm never a big fan of Ring of Honor, and I've heard the Briscoes. I've actually seen the Briscoes live before because my friend Chubbs, one of my best friends, man, he got me in to looking at the Briscoes, and of course I watched their matches. Every time the Briscoes had a match, he would send me the match, especially if they were a good match, whether it be against the Young Bucks or whether they did the fight on the farm. But between them two, back when he was on the pandemic era, and also the whole FTR trilogy of the day. So, that was my education of the Briscoes, man. And like I said, and I seen them live, and I was saying, and now it's growing on me, man. Like they're really growing on me, and actually makes you look back and be like, damn, I missed out on a lot. I missed out on a lot when it comes to watching their match and just growing and respecting them, because this thing was hurtful. It kind of reminded me of that Brett and Chris Benoit match they had on Nitro for that Owen Hart tribute match, and it just, at that time I was just too young to understand, other than Owen Hart had died. I knew what death was, and obviously I understood that, but I understand really the Chris Benoit connection, and sometimes I didn't understand the Bret Hart connection. I was like, oh really, they are really brothers, because I never looked at it that way. And that's what this show was, man. And it was just like, and I just also read that his funeral was going to be on Sunday. It took a lot for his brother to come out there and be able to, on his what would have been his 39th birthday, to come out here and pay tribute to his brother like that right before, right when they're gonna lay him to rest in 4 days. Bro, I couldn't do it. Like this right here, like what y'all see right here. This is like my mom was in here. This is a bracelet where you can, some kind of jewelry you guys can keep ashes and stuff like that in there for your loved ones and stuff. I know me personally, it's hard to even put the bracelet on. You know what I'm saying? To go out there for these people and still have a match, and still a good quality match with Jay Lethal, I couldn't do it. All the respect in the world to that man. All the respect to the world to that man. And that's where my mind is at with this. They have a shirt, just like it was when Brody Lee passed away. They have a shirt, and all the proceeds going to the family of Jay Briscoe, and I'm going to support. I did the same thing when it came to Brody Lee. I'm going to do the same thing when it comes to Jay Briscoe as well. Go buy shirts, all the proceeds go right to his family. Say I will give Tony Khan. You can say a lot of things about Tony Khan, but when these superstars pass away, man, he's gonna make sure that somebody's taken care of. So right now, the best thing I would do, I'm going to just skim through NXT, to be honest with you, and then I'm going to give you like my thoughts on Dynamite and of course the ending. So let's just get into it. So when it comes to NXT, this was just to me, a middle of the road. It is doing some building for Judgment Day. We kick it off with Indy Hartwell taking on Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton's first match back since being injured for a while. She goes out and hits the top. She is like the BME, like the best moonsault ever on Indy Hartwell for the pin. So I thought it was pretty cool. I didn't see any of the backstage stuff with JC Jane and all that stuff like that, or anything going with Dynamite, so like that. They had a Chase University Awards ceremony, which J.D. McDonough interrupted, and which led to Andre Chase taking on J.D. McDonough. And J.D. McDonough won with the Devlin inside. Ivy Now and Tatum Paxley taking on Keita James and Fallon Henley. I didn't care for this matchup, but Fallon Henley hit the shiny wizard for the win. New Day, the New Day was backstage with Malik Blade and Edge's Info, and they asked for a Texas title shot, but then that's when Schism interrupted, and New Day said they could have a New Day Invitational. The winner will be added to the tag team title match at Vengeance Day. Hank Walker and Drew Gulak taking on the Creed Brothers. Creed Brothers won that matchup. They had a Tony D'Angelo's scene with Stacks, welcome him into the family. We had a Wendy Chu versus Elektra Lopez matchup. It was alright. Elektra Lopez won after hitting Wendy Chu in the face with the brass knucks that she had stuck down there, and she also had this lady, what was it, Friezo, that they came to the ring with her. I don't know if that's the sort of thing. I don't know what's going on with that storyline, to be honest with you. I haven't been really following when it came to that. Grayson Wylde's in the ring for a segment calling out Bron Breakker, what he's going to do. Bron Breakker comes out, the whole locker room is trying to stop him, but him and Grayson Wylde get into a brawl, but then on the outside, he tries to go like spear Grayson Wylde. He gets out the way, he falls to like the little, where the audience is at, he like, their little barricade, he breaks through that. So I was like, oh, I never, couldn't see that. Then he had the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships, KC2, taking on Alba Fire and Sol Roca. I don't know who the Sol Roca is, but this girl is pretty good. Like, I mean, she was in there springboarding all her life, just bouncing around everywhere. I was like, and she was doing it clean too. Like, I've seen women do springboards before. I've seen them go out there and do it, but I mean, there are some women who just be like getting it clean. She was getting these springboards pretty clean. So I'm like, I gotta keep my eye on her. But KC2 hits their finishing move, and they end up winning the matchup. Wesley has a whole thing saying she's not gonna back down from Dijak in the backstage little interview they did. It's not a backstage interview, it's like a little segment that they pre-recorded already. They had the NXT Women's Championship Summit with Roxanne Perez, Gigi Dolan, and JC James was out there with Booker T, and they was sitting there talking. They was end up arguing with each other, and then they just smiled and looked at Roxanne Perez and then jumped her, and then gave her like a double choke slam through the table, and that's how NXT ended. So for Vengeance Day. Oh, by the way, I did enjoy. They had a barbershop segment. Apollo went into the barbershop that Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes go into, and then when they came in there, they were sitting there talking, but he said, you beat me, I beat you, so at Vengeance Day we sell this, we get a rubber match, 2 out of 3 falls between Apollo Crews and Carmelo Hayes. I'm like, I'm with it, so that should be a good matchup. So I like that whole scene anyway. And once Apollo puts Carmelo over, he gonna go over to Bron Breakker and get that title from Bron Breakker by Stand and Deliver. That's just my prediction for that. I think that's what should happen. So Bron Breakker make his way to the main roster, and they can do something else with Apollo, so he can start winning. And maybe Apollo gets his win back and gets the championship with Carmelo Hayes when he's ready to come to the main roster. Who knows? But now, that was NXT. Like I said, it was just the middle of the road stuff, and obviously when your mind is set to talk about something else, like when it came to the tribute tonight, or the tribute yesterday to Jay Briscoe, that's really on your mind. So time for us to move on to AEW Dynamite. It is Wednesday, and you do know what that means. So tonight on Dynamite, obviously we have Mark Briscoe taking on Jay Lethal in the end with the tribute to Jay Briscoe. Also, we have Darby Allin defending his TNT Championship against Buddy Matthews, and then we also have a lot of the matches. But we kick off Dynamite with Jericho and Sammy Guevara taking on Action Andrade and Ricky Starks. So this is hot. First of all, Ricky Starks is over. Like, he is very, very over. And because even when I actually Dre was in the match and doing all, I mean, this man is very athletic, doing all kinds of ricochet flips and stuff like that in there also with Sammy Guevara. But they kept saying, we want Ricky, we want Ricky. Ricky gets into the match, does and then with Jericho, does his little like walk the rope thing, but he's doing the little taunt on the rope, but he's taking too long, and then Sammy Guevara does a springboard and gives him a cutter. Going towards the end of the matchup, there was something that was very impressive that I seen, that Ricky Starks on the outside gave Jericho a running old school Ron Simmons Dominator on the outside. Because now we see Lashley pick up the Dominator and flip him over to their stomach, but when somebody gets picked up in the powerbomb form and they get slammed back down on their face, that I can call that's the Ron Simmons Dominator. I enjoy those Dominators. And but in the ring, Andretti, lands the cutter on Sammy for the 2 count, and Danny Garcia comes and hits Action Andretti with a bat from the apron, and Guevara gives him with his finishing move, whatever it was, and then they win the match that way. So good matchup to start it off and everything like that. And like I said, Ricky Starks is mad over. So obviously, I knew once it was a tag team match that the JAS was probably get a win back. They showed a nice tribute package for Jay Briscoe right after this, and it was like all his Ring of Honor stuff, him doing the cheers with his daughters and him and his family and stuff like that. And I mean, like, this show was painful, man. This is really painful. And I'm glad that they were able to go out and show, like I said, whatever Tony Khan had to do. I don't know when the dust settles. We'll probably find out about that, or maybe you guys know more than I do. I just know I'm glad it got done so they can honor this man the right way, opposed to what they was trying to do last week and this wasn't working. Like, you got to be able to honor this man, especially when I know Tony Khan was going to fight for this, because when people die that he cares about a lot, one of his wrestlers, so he's gonna do what he can, to do that. So it's a very good tribute package. Next up, we get Darby Allin takes on Buddy Matthews. A pretty good matchup in this one, and there was a when Darby was on, like, Darby would take some bumps. Buddy Matthews gives him a Meteora from the top rope onto the apron. That looked like it sucked for Darby, to be honest with you. But Darby does come back. He did as the match goes on. We still have a decent matchup. Buddy Matthews trying to get back into the ring. That's when Darby hits a coffin drop to him, and he's like midway through the middle rope, and he comes down on his head, and that's how Darby wins and retains the TNT Championship. Tony Schiavone's about to get in there and do his old WCW interviewing type thing like Mean Gene used to do after the match, and talk about how he's on a roll since winning the championship. And then Samoa Joe comes up on the screen and talks to Darby Allin and lets him know that you hold a stolen possession and he wants it back. So next week on Dynamite, it's going to be a no holds barred matchup between Samoa Joe and Darby Allin. So you already know that should be kind of fun. That really should be kind of fun. Jungle Hook take on Matt Hardy and Ethan Page. I did not get a chance to see this matchup, but Jungle Hook wins. So they had the therapy segment with Billy Gunn, the Billy Gunn family thing with the Acclaim and the Gunn Boys. The Acclaim say that the Guns just would have not worked as champions, and Billy tells his sons that they took the easy way out and said that their mistakes weren't their father's fault. Hangman Page is backstage also, and since him and Moxley 1-on-1, he said he wants to knock him out in Dayton, Ohio. So, but Will Yuta challenges him to a match at Rampage this Friday. Meanwhile, we're going to get the confirmation that Adam Page is taking on Moxley next week on Dynamite. I figured, I was like, are they going to save it for something else? Or I was like, damn, I thought Moxley was going to be on vacation. I'm like, damn, how long was that vacation? A week? I mean, I thought that man was going to be at least gone for about till, I don't know. Just, this is a little bit into February. Just saying. Bryan Danielson continues to do his thing where he has to win a match every single week to go face MJF at Revolution. So this was against Brian Cage, the Machine. Well, this matchup was a really good one because Brian Cage obviously is a stronger opponent. This is the first time that Danielson had like this big time competition where the guy was much more stronger than he was, and towards the end, Brian Cage hurt Brian Danielson's shoulder, so he was selling the shoulder, and he let's see, Danielson hits a superplex to him off the top, and he like I said, he's still fighting and everything. That is good, but then Cage goes for a power bomb, hits Brian with the Brian Danielson, excuse me, with the power bomb. I thought he was going to give him the stack power bomb, but no, he picks up for another one. But Brian Danielson rolls through, and then kind of like puts all his weight on Brian Cage and pins him 1, 2, 3. After the matchup, Brian Cage attacks Brian Danielson, and MJF comes out and pushes the people from the top. He puts table, just pushes them all out the way, grabs a chair, puts his arm and his neck in there, and it like as it's open, runs him into the steel pole, and then he goes in and tries to pulverize his arm, and then that's when Takeshi, I know I won't say the name wrong, I apologize, comes to the ring and breaks up and starts fighting Brian Cage and takes him out. Ruby Soho takes on Toni Storm. There was a point in the matchup where Ruby Soho hits a knee on Toni Storm and looked like, at first I was like, she won't, it felt bad, like I said, hold up for a minute. And I was just like, oh damn, this girl really break her nose. But then I could tell that obviously she was selling, because the referee would have immediately thrown up the extra, like you would see some blood come out. But then she tricked Ruby Riott, and then as she's about to go for her Storm Zero power driver, Britt Baker has returned and comes out to strikes Toni Storm, and then Ruby Soho gets the win. What did she? Was it? She used a disaster game, or she used something else to pin Toni Storm, and yeah, so she won that way. Backstage, Brian Danielson is being checked on by the doctor, and he's letting the doctor know that he don't want. He said, "Can he wrestle Kenny?" And then the doctor was saying no, but he said, "Well, you're wrong. He is going to wrestle." And he said he wrestled 60 minutes with a separated shoulder before, so he's not going to miss this opportunity. And then next week, Brian Danielson's opponent is going to be Timothy Thatcher. I haven't seen Timothy Thatcher since he left WWE, so I know he's been wrestling for Pro Wrestling Noah, so that should be another good matchup. I'm looking forward to seeing that matchup. Time for the main event. The main event is Mark Briscoe taking on Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal comes out. He is visibly upset. He is like Sanjay Dutt has to hold him, crowd like, yo, we can get through this and get through this matchup. You can tell that he is visibly upset. And like I said, I don't know too much of the history of Ring of Honor because I was not a Ring of Honor guy. Before anybody tries to attack me about that, I'm not a Ring of Honor guy, so I don't really know about all the history, the rich history that is there, and between Jay Lethal and Jay Briscoe. So then Mark Briscoe comes out, and he comes out with both tag team championship belts and everything, and he gets a great ovation in Dynamite. I was like, it just feels good to see them on Dynamite. It feels good because the Briscoes, that's who Tony Khan wanted to sign first, coming in the Dynamite, but obviously they had those issues. But I was like, but now you just can't help but to think about the what ifs. Because I would have loved to see them in Dynamite. I would have loved to even see them in WWE. But for the Briscoes to be the Briscoes, they may have worked out in NXT, but not Vince in the main roster at all. I was listening to Silent Monster one time, and I remember him saying that if they had with WWE, I could see Vince turn them into a modern day Bushwhackers. I'm just like, yeah. Damn, that was like right on the hit. That was so accurate that he brought that up, because I was like, that makes so much sense in the world, because the way Mark Briscoe acts, I'm like, yeah, they would have put them to the bushwhackers. I'm like, yo, it's good that they didn't go, but I would like to see them try, like at an NXT, and to see how things worked out there. But also definitely try, come to AEW, because me personally, I'm just like, yo, man, get out of Ring of Honor. You know what I'm saying? Look, Ring of Honor was cool for what it is, and I know that it has a good fan base. I'm just not a fan of Ring of Honor at all. And I'm just like, you can come out there and just come. I would have loved to see them on Dynamite, especially when I was learning about them from my friend. They also have Caprice Coleman and who's the other guy from Ring of Honor also on commentary as well, which was fitting. And they went on and they had the matchup, and it was good. And in the beginning, they was just them trying to fill each other out and then doing like the stare downs in the ring so the crowd could eat the whole thing up. And Mark Briscoe, very much professional, man, in there, was doing all his stuff, doing all his crazy ticks and everything like that. The things I like about Mark Briscoe and stuff like that. And Jay Lethal goes for a lethal injection, hits it on Mark Briscoe. He rolls out to the ring so you could pin him. And then they fight outside for the ring a little bit, but then Mark is feeling it. He hits Jay Lethal and puts him on the table, and he goes up. He goes on the apron, then does the running blockbuster, and then puts Jay Lethal on the table, and then goes to the top rope. And after they then dives down with the elbow through the table, and the crowd, holy shit chance, this is awesome chance. He comes back in there. Jay Lethal does kick out of that. Briscoe hooks the arms and about to go for his the double underhook pile driver. I don't know what he calls it personally. Lethal goes for another lethal injection, but then Mark catches him with the forearm. Then the Triller is what he calls it. He covers Jay, and then he wins the matchup. Obviously, he hugs Jay Lethal, and everybody gives a standing ovation. And then in the entranceway, they put up the Jay Briscoe graph from 1984 to 2023, and all the AEW wrestlers coming out. You see the Young Bucks, you see Adam Cole, you see everybody out there, and Jay Lethal is like, he is just a mess. Like he's doing the best he can to hold it, and then he gets up on there, and you get to see him kind of like just fall into Sam Singh's arms a little bit. And I was like, yo, man, somebody help this man. But meanwhile, Mark Briscoe is in the ring, and then he looks to the camera, and then he was talking to his nieces, telling them, to keep your head up. And, he said he loved his brother Jamie. And it was just touching. It was just really touching. He goes up there in the entranceway, and that's how Dynamite went off the air. And I was just like, man, this is so fucking beautiful, man. Like, it was getting me a little emotional a little bit, because I was just like, man, it's just so unfair, But that's what there's nothing you can do about that. It's unfair to the other family for the lady who lost her life as well, because their family members that are hurting, and they gotta go do the service coming up on Sunday. It's just, because it's getting real. And the thing about Jay Briscoe, especially when it comes to these wrestling deaths, it's like, you hear about it, and it's like, yeah, people die, but it just, sometimes it don't be feeling real. And then as more and more days are going on, you just think like, maybe this is a dream, maybe I'll wake up from this nightmare, maybe they'll come back, maybe there's some false news on the internet, but it just keeps getting more real. It keeps getting way more real, and it's just like, wow, this is really sinking in. Like, yo, man, Jay Briscoe really passed away, and this is hard, man. So, obviously, I'm not going to even sit here and say NXT beat Dynamite. Dynamite was obviously the better show, but overall, it shouldn't even be about what was the better show. It was just about the tribute. So I'm going to ask you guys in the post in the comments down below, how did you guys feel about the tribute? Did you enjoy it? And how much of fans are you of Briscoe's? Like, help this ignorant brother out. If there's some Briscoe matches that I should check out from the earlier days, or some Ring of Honor that I missed a lot of that stuff. And or when it comes to Jay Briscoe and Jay Lethal's singles run, post out in the comments down below, help me out, and post with some links so I can go see this stuff. And hit the like button if you guys enjoyed my review. Hit the subscribe button for more wrestling content right here on NC Studios. Once again, it's NC, a place to be. Children, Mr. Andy, and the Nerd Coalition is out. Rest in peace, Jay Briscoe.